Most creative agencies are one bad month away from a crisis, not because the work is bad, not because clients aren't happy, but because the entire business is built on a model that resets to zero every single month. So if you run a project-based agency, you already know the feeling. You close a great project, the client is getting the work, the team delivers, the client is happy, and you're straight back to hunting for the next one. And so you can't see past 90 days, and the cliff is always there. So in this video, I want to talk about why that happens, what it is actually costing you, and how the most stable creative agencies in the world have fixed it. So let's first just define the 90-day cliff. So the reality of project-based model is that revenue frankly just resets every single month. And you may have multiple months within a given project, but the reality is the same, is that you don't end up having visibility past 90 days. And this is true for large mid-size agencies that are in the 50 to 75 employees to the boutiques that are 1 to 3 to 5 employees. And so the reality is that they just cannot see past that 90-day timeline. So every decision that is made under the shadow of what's next. Can I afford this? What's going to happen? This cliff is always there. So it ends up creating this dynamic where you're afraid to make hiring choices and investment choices because you know that there's a cliff. And even in the good months, you're afraid of what that means in a future month because, well, maybe I haven't seen an opportunity come down the pike, but then you end up having more opportunities come a week later. And so it's just this constant cyclical place where you feel that level of anxiety. The reality is that there is a good side to project-based work as well. So there's always a motivator. Hunger drives hustle, it drives motivation, it drives momentum. And it ends up forcing the team to stay sharp. It forces the team to stay competitive. It forces the team to push above their weight. And the reality is that there's no time for complacency because the pipeline is always moving and there's always something to be doing. There's always a new thing to be selling. There's always a next stage of what you need to be doing. And frankly, some agencies just truly thrive on this energy. So I want to be very clear that while I'm going to go through this, if your agency is just very much focused on this project-based oriented environment, and the reality is that some industries just thrive more on this type of dynamic, it may not be a fit for you to go more on the recurring side. But let's take the inverse, right? The bad side of project-based work is that constant stress bleeds into your leadership decisions because you're in this feeling of famine, really, is that you're not really sure when you're going to be able to bring in the next client, when you're going to get that next yes that allows for you to be able to afford your expenses, your payroll, making sure that you have that going on. So you're constantly reactive to hiring, to pricing, to bluntly, most things. You're reactive to most things. It's hard to plan. It's hard to invest. It's hard to grow. It's hard to know where you're going next, what's coming around just that next corner. And so one slow month can threaten the entire operation where you're going to have to go through a layoff. You're going to have to make some meaningful cutbacks. And the reality is that when that happens, team morale suffers when uncertainty is the norm, especially if they end up feeling it. As a leader, it sometimes can be hard to make these segmentations or separations from the stress that you ultimately feel. And if the team ends up feeling it, even in the example of like, if you've had to do a layoff, even more so then that they understand that things are unstable and it ends up creating more tumultuousness for your team as well, which really they generally speaking are not adapted to be able to feel. And so the reality is why do most agencies end up stuck in this model is that retainers can often feel a lot harder to sell. Owners don't know how to package the ongoing value and how to actually go about selling a retainer model. Clients end up pushing back is that we're not going to need that every month. We're not going to need to engage. Let's just start with a smaller project, that sort of thing. And so there's no system in place to convert that one-off client into a recurring oriented engagement. And there's a comfort in the familiarity of where you currently are, even if it's painful and you really don't like it, is that it may be something that you've just become accustomed to. So let's talk about what that retainer model actually looks like and how you can go about it. So the reality is that clients are not buying monthly content. They're buying monthly progress. And you have to make sure that you understand the distinction between it and that your packages need to be built around the client's problem, not your deliverables, and exactly how it goes about taking them from point A to point B. And the best way that I like to actually put together these types of packages is by thinking about how quickly someone wants to get there. Is that the reality is that each one of these different packages will get you to where you want to go. Just one version is going to get you there faster. And you need to be making sure that you know what their pain points are and how you're going to go about solving for what they're experiencing and not just thinking through exactly what the service is. So pricing is important to make sure that you understand exactly how to go about thinking through what exactly that outcome is going to be, so that you can meaningfully attribute the value that you are providing and what that outcome is. And so that you are able to meaningfully structure the way that you're communicating the value of this. And the entirety of your ability to do and close these types of deals is by being sure that you understand exactly how to communicate that. And the reality is that going about this kind of winging it ends up killing your close, because you don't actually have that sale appropriately structured that allows for you to be able to have them understand and being able to fully quantify the impact that it's going to have. So let's talk about converting your existing clients and existing engagements into retainers. And bluntly, it should be one of the easiest sales you've ever made, because they already trust you. They already know you. They already have a clean understanding of exactly who you are. So there's a whole lot less of a sale that's really needed. And the reality is for new clients, you need to qualify them. They need to qualify you. You're going to have a discovery call, all those sorts of pieces. And the reality is that you don't need to have that. The way that you should go about this is that based on the way that you actually go about setting up the structure of your retainer model, and there's loads of different ways about setting them up. But the reality is that as you solve one specific problem that they have, what they have come to you for that initial project, the reality is that business is not without its challenges for its next stage of growth. And what is the client looking to accomplish over the course of the next 3, 6, 9, and maybe even 12 months? And how do you actually fit into that growth journey for them? And so making sure that you're having a conversation about where they headed next, what is it that they need to accomplish, what's going on within their business, and the fact that you have had this relationship with them for several months makes you incredibly well positioned to have that conversation, to allow for you to really meaningfully understand where they are so that you can meaningfully solve for it. One of the important things that I want you to think about here is that what does change when you have these ongoing relationships, these retainers, is that you are able to see past the 90 days. You know exactly what your revenue is. Obviously, there's still attrition. It's not without some ups and downs, but you're able to have a lot more security in what it looks like 90 days from now. So you can now start to hire with intention and not be as reactive. Your leadership decisions can feel a bit more clear and you're not operating out of fear. And the motivator can stay because you're focused on what exactly that outcome looks like. And also for every new project that you're currently bringing in, there's still an opportunity for you to be able to sell. And that motivator of the new business sell is still there as well, because you're still have those clients and those prospective clients that you're still talking to. So retainers solve the revenue cliff, but they only work if your team can consistently deliver month after month without burning out. And that starts with how you manage the people doing the work. So watch the next video on the 5 costly hiring mistakes that are killing your creative agency.